A filmmaker's first major feature often serves as a definitive statement, laying bare their thematic obsessions and stylistic signature. Sometimes that statement is a whisper, other times it's a precisely executed strike. Aditya Dhar's introduction to Indian cinema was definitive and explosive. The 2019 Hindi film Uri the Surgical Strike. Uri the Surgical Strike not only marked Aditya Dhar's emergence as a major director but also introduced a new cinematic language to Indian cinema, defined by unflinching realism, technical precision, and a visceral approach to military action. The film instantly carved out a significant space for authentic, modern war narratives in the commercial space, transforming its lead actor's career and fundamentally changing how contemporary military operations were portrayed on screen. Crucially, the film's artistic excellence was immediately recognized, culminating in the National Film Award for Best Director for Aditya Dhar, a rare and powerful honor for a debut feature film. While it may be challenging to replicate the film's taut pacing, technical execution, and lasting cultural resonance, there are 7 invaluable lessons any filmmaker can learn from Aditya Dhar's approach to his directorial debut. Welcome to the second episode of Debut Films, the Director's Playbook series featuring Aditya Dhar's Uri, the Surgical Strike.
Commanders! Yes, sir! How's the Josh? Hi, sir!
Aditya Dhar's directorial debut was produced under the established RSVP Movies banner. Released in January 2019, the film quickly became a genuine sensation, not just commercially but as a cultural talking point. The film's success ushered in a new style of filmmaking characterized by documentary-style realism, intense, sustained action sequences, and tight, focused emotional conflicts that resonated far beyond the traditional Bollywood formula. The first decision any debut director makes is choosing their protagonist, and that choice dictates the emotional contract they make with the audience. For Aditya Dhar, the decision was strategic. He didn't choose a single hero, he chose a collective protagonist. The mission itself, embodied by Major Vihan Shergill and the Special Forces team. Dhar deliberately avoided the outdated concept of the singular, melodramatic, larger-than-life hero, opting instead to portray a realistic combat unit operating with silent precision. The core lesson here is a commitment to procedural detail and mission depth over individual heroism. The film's emotional engine is not one for man's quest for personal glory, but the shared code of honor and commitment among the soldiers. The narrative charts their journey from personal grief to professional, calculated vengeance.
अगर मैं अपने देश, अपने भाइयों के लिए अब नहीं लड़ा, तो मैं अपनी नजरों में फर्जी बन के रह जाऊंगा.
This transition forces the audience to view the Special Forces team as a disciplined, lethal unit where every member, from the tech experts to the ground troops, is essential. The audience is asked to endure the intense planning and execution phases, making the theme of teamwork under fire as crucial as the theme of retribution. But a high-stakes military operation needs dialogue that conveys authority and urgency, not melodrama. Dhar's next masterstroke was his writing. He gave the characters a voice defined by brevity, military jargon, and focused intent. The power of Uri lies in its uncompromising, minimalist dialogue, a dramatic departure from the lengthy, often theatrical jingoistic speeches typical of previous war films. This voice was the film's most distinctive signature. It felt urgent, professional, and often deeply resonant, defining the characters not through exaggerated patriotism but through how they casually and efficiently communicated tactical objectives. For instance, the film's central tension is often built not through emotional shouting but through quiet, tense radio commands. This commitment to using sharp, naturalistic dialogue as the primary vehicle for procedural and emotional tension, instantly immersing the viewer in the high-stakes environment. Dhar's concise style signaled a bold command to the audience, abandon spectacle and engage with the gravity of real-time military action, permanently raising the bar for modern Hindi screenwriting in the action genre.
वक्त आ गया है, खून का बदला खून से लेने का, उन्हें कश्मीर चाहिए और हमें उनका सर.
The dialogue and character were only half the battle. The operational conviction had to be palpable. Casting the central team was critical and Dhar's choices were deliberate. He focused on actors who could embody discipline and physical intensity. He cast Vicky Kaushal as Major Vihan for his ability to convey silent intensity, grief, and calculated aggression, knowing the audience needed to believe in his physical and emotional readiness for the mission. Crucially, the film prioritized conviction over traditional pairing. The ensemble cast was built around performers who could look and act like genuine operatives, including Yami Gautam as the dedicated intelligence officer and Kirti Kulhari as the Air Force pilot. The focus was entirely on professionalism and capability and emotional logic rather than market appeal, challenging the industry's obsession with dramatic romance in an action setting. This dedication to authentic interaction ensured the audience invested deeply in the mission, the real focus of the film, securing the emotional capital needed to sustain the film's intense, sustained action sequences. With the emotional contract secured, Dhar moved to rewrite the rulebook on narrative structure itself. His structural risk was his rejection of the traditional three-act structure of conflict and resolution. Instead, Uri utilizes a procedural time-bound pacing that dedicates significant time to the planning and execution phases. This was a uniquely fresh take, breaking away from the cinematic norms that favored immediate action over detailed setup. The key structural innovation is the extended second act, dedicated to methodical preparation. Instead of rushing to the border, the film deliberately slows down to focus on logistics, intelligence gathering, and specialized training. By refusing to rush the operational complexity, Dhar forces the audience to live through the unit's preparation, making the final strike feel entirely earned and intensely visceral. The pacing is dictated by the mission clock, making the film a taut, suspenseful experience justified by the necessary detail of the military procedure. To manage the high-stakes sequences of the final act, Dhar revolutionized action choreography, elevating it beyond spectacle to technical realism. The film's visual identity became a powerful tool for establishing the specialized nature of the operations. Dhar deliberately avoided exaggerated martial arts or physics-defined stunts common in Bollywood. Instead, the action sequences, shot primarily in Serbia, focused on QCB, close quarters battle, tactics, night vision aesthetics, and the synchronized movements of the Special Forces unit. The visual language emphasized silenced weapons, tactical maneuvers, and realistic injuries, creating an immersive, gritty atmosphere. This commitment to procedural authenticity allowed the audience to experience the controlled, efficient violence of a modern military strike, turning action not into mere entertainment but into a dynamic, high-stakes tactical exercise. The music sealed the emotional and stylistic vision, a collaboration with Shashwat Sachdev that resulted in a score defined by tension and adrenaline. The genius of the music lies in its ability to function as the heartbeat and the warning signal of the mission. The score rejected typical heavy patriotic orchestrations in favor of modern electronic and industrial sounds that reflected the technology and high-stakes tension of the operation. Tracks build an unrelenting sense of dread and momentum, creating auditory immersion during the silent infiltration phases. This strategic use of the music confirmed Dhar's belief that every cinematic element must contribute to the film's visceral intensity, transforming the soundtrack into a non-stop engine of suspense and tactical precision. Finally, how did this singular vision, a debut film centered entirely on a highly sensitive, technical military operation, make it to the screen? The answer lies in entrepreneurial conviction. Aditya Dhar's directorial leap required significant trust from his producers to maintain authenticity and avoid commercial dilution. This internal support mechanism directly empowered the artistic decisions we have discussed. It allowed Dhar to champion the procedural structure, the restrained dialogue, and the technically precise action without external interference from demands for songs or commercial breaks. Uri reached theaters because of a personal, non-negotiable belief in the director's vision, demonstrating that artistic integrity sometimes requires a literal leap of faith in your own team to redefine the mainstream, especially in a genre as sensitive as military action. As many filmmakers have learned, no one can successfully replicate the technical intensity of Uri, but we can all draw inspiration from these 7 core lessons from Aditya Dhar's debut film. Uri the Surgical Strike is a masterclass in prioritizing authenticity and technical execution over melodrama. It shows that sometimes the greatest success comes from simply taking destiny into your own hands and delivering a story exactly as reality demanded. And this wraps up our second episode of the debut films, the Director's Playbook series. 8 more exciting stories are in production, so please like, share and subscribe to stay up to date on all our videos. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.